Hello, welcome back to Moving to New Zealand, Eagles to Kiwis. Today we have a guest who I just met a few minutes prior to this, and his name is David, or did you go by Dave or David?
David is good.
Okay, David. And I put out a request for Americans living in New Zealand in our local Facebook group, and I'm really gracious that he responded and said he would come on. And so, David, nice to meet you, and tell us a little bit about how you got here, why you're here, and, you know, a little bit of your journey.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. We've been here, my family, my wife and two kids, since November 2022. So almost 2.5 years, I think.
Okay.
So I knew someone that was working at Lincoln University, and I was in touch with him all throughout the pandemic. And when New Zealand reopened their borders in, I think, August of 2022, he sent me a message and just said, hey, borders are reopening. There's some jobs available if you want to apply. I did, got the job. I'm sure we'll get more into visa stuff later, but like the way it worked for me at least, and I don't know how it works for other people and certainly not giving advice, but I got the job offer and then Lincoln University said, we want to hire this person, so we will sponsor them through an accredited employer work visa.
Yes.
And so they were an accredited employer. They were able to sponsor people from overseas. And I think from their point, they just have to provide some explanation of saying, like, we tried to hire someone within the country. We were unsuccessful in doing that. Therefore, we need to hire this person.
And especially at that time, there was a real shortage. A lot of different industries were struggling to find people to work. And I joke about this. I should have applied for the high-end jobs at that point because the competition was very low. And I did have a job at that time. And now that I look back and compare it, I was like, oh, actually the money was really good for that role. But I didn't have anything to compare it to at that time because the salaries are just so different here than in America. Yeah. And so I missed that opportunity, but other people I know jumped on good opportunities during that time. So it was smart. And what state did you come from?
So I'm from Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
But we were living in Washington, D.C. before we moved.
Okay.
We moved from D.C.
Oh, wow.
And we had been there on and off for about a decade.
Okay.
And I think the primary decision was, I don't want to be in Washington, D.C. anymore. I think my wife probably would have been happier staying there a little bit longer, but she was totally fine and supportive of that decision. Decision one was we don't want to be here. Where do we want to go? For a while, we talked about going back to Hawaii. All my family is still there. But then, there's a job opportunity that seemed at least somewhat likely in New Zealand. And then once it became definitely possible, like the offer was on the table for us to take it or not, then it just kind of became more clear, like home will always be there, like I miss home. I miss my family. Hawaii is amazing, obviously, but New Zealand was always a place that we were interested in. We had never been here before, but it was a place that, like, when
you moved here without ever traveling?
No.
Okay.
But I still have a note on my phone from like 14 years ago when my wife and I first started dating. And it was like a list of countries that like we want to go to one day. And New Zealand was number one on the list. And that's a note from like 14 years ago. So like it's always been, whether we moved here or not, we would have, come here at some point just to visit or travel, whatever. Home was always going to be there, but we have an opportunity right now to go live in New Zealand. Like, why would we not take that?
Right.
We did. And I'm glad we did.
And you were already living... If your family's from Hawaii, you were already kind of far from them. And actually, are you closer to them here?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it feels closer because, we're two islands in the Pacific and, Hawaii is so far from the East Coast of the U.S., but it's pretty much exactly the same. Like, there's like a 10-hour flight on United from D.C. to Honolulu. Okay. And then here... it's, I think, 9 hours from Auckland to Honolulu, plus like the extra hour down to Christchurch. So it's weirdly almost exactly the same.
That's funny. Yeah. Because my husband's the Kiwi. Okay. And I met him here 20 years ago this July. I studied abroad here. So I went to University of Boston and then came here for my semester abroad. And I make the joke. I went back to America to finish university. He followed me 3 months after I left here, and then I never shook him.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more complication. He owned a house here, so we had to come back and wrap up a lot of things as well. So he couldn't just totally leave Christchurch. But we talk about when we were living in America, like his dad and his sister and stuff here could just meet us in Hawaii. This was something we've talked about so many times. Like, for Christmas, we'll just meet in Hawaii.
It is kind of the perfect halfway point between East Coast and New Zealand, yeah.
And it still hasn't happened because now we're here. But there's still a brother in New Hampshire. That's where we're from.
Okay.
So my Kiwi husband's twin brother lives in New Hampshire, and he only lived like a half an hour from us.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
Like,
big change then to be so far then.
Yeah. But his dad is here and his sister and cousins. And actually, one of his cousins that lives in Auckland, who I've never met, she's coming down this weekend to Akaroa.
Oh, nice.
And so I'll be meeting her and her partner for the first time. Yeah.
Cool.
And so a lot of his family's in Auckland, and we haven't really gone there. We haven't explored a whole lot of the North Island. Have you?
We've been there a couple times. So Bay of Islands for a week.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Nice.
That was super nice.
Is it tropical?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, right. I mean, I guess like coming from Hawaii, a thing that, right, we didn't choose Christchurch. We chose New Zealand, right?
Yes.
I would have accepted the first job that was offered to me, right? You know, like obviously wasn't going to tell that to employers, right? Like wanted to make it seem like I was a little bit hard to get, but the reality was that like the first person to offer me a job, I was going to say yes to it. But yeah, I probably would have preferred someplace further north where it's warmer, a bit more like home.
Yeah.
Christchurch is surprising. I mean, I guess I knew it was cold, but like,
those winters.
Yeah. And part of there's many reasons I didn't want to live in DC anymore, but one was I was just tired of being cold, you know?
Wait, so DC was cold for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a visiting professor, and he works in New York City, but he went he works at NYU, but he taught at Duke for a while. For many years, and he said Duke was too cold.
No, he's from Christchurch?
No, sorry. So no. He said that Duke was too hot.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. So North Carolina was too hot.
Oh, Cantabrians love to complain about the heat.
And he's from New Hampshire, and then he lived in New York. So then he said he thought that Duke was too hot, so he wanted to be back in the cold. But he's leaving before winter strikes here, so he won't get to feel it.
So is he an American or he's
He's
Kiwi?
an American. He's visiting.
Okay.
Sorry, he's an American, and he's visiting the MBA program as a fellowship.
Yeah.
And so, and I point that way. I keep pointing because he's sitting in an office over down the hallway.
Yeah.
However, because the cold, New Hampshire gets way colder.
Yeah.
But our winter is very dry in New England, and the winter here is like cold and damp. And it's, even though the temperature actually doesn't get that low, it feels colder than it does at home.
Really?
Where actually, I'm going to just speak in Fahrenheit since our target audience is American. So New Hampshire would get -5, -10 degrees Fahrenheit. And here, it really doesn't go below 32 Fahrenheit.
No, yeah.
So that's
there hasn't been
coldest
snow in the 2.5 years that I've been here.
No, not on the ocean level, or not on the city. But the houses aren't insulated. My house is single glazed windows, so it feels cold and it's just damp.
Yeah, and for
it's
me,
windy.
For me too, like the ocean is like a big part of my life, you know, and like the water temperature is vastly different than, I mean, obviously Hawaii. Like I'm super spoiled. I know that. Like everything is cold to me in terms of water, but like like that's a big part of my feeling of coldness too. Is that like the first winter here. I went surfing and I felt like I was prepared. Like I had the helmet thing. I had booties. I had gloves, and I've never been so cold in my life. Like it was torture. And I didn't go out the rest of the winter. I was like, I can't handle this. I'm not hardcore enough. That's a recurring thing that I felt like Kiwis are super hardy. And like as an American, I feel like so soft all the time, you know?
Do you do any other outdoor activities like tramping, camping?
I wouldn't say tramping. I'm more just like basic hikes, you know, which I don't know, like that term, like doesn't really exist here. It's just kind of like you're either going for like a walk, or you're going tramping.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, like whatever middle ground exists that we use the word hiking for, that kind of doesn't really exist here. I don't know.
I've done some winter camping, tramping with my kids.
Okay.
But we have this winter sleeping bag from LL Bean, and I think it says, I can't remember the exact number, but it basically says it gets to like minus 30 Fahrenheit. Like that's how equipped it is. And we've taken it, but it's always too hot. Like it's
really?
Yeah, it hasn't, we haven't been in the cold enough, I guess, like not the dead of winter to need this. But it's really funny because allegedly this is like $1,000 sleeping bag, but probably in New Zealand dollars. But my husband bought it off someone in Craigslist in America. The person bought it, never used it. So I think he actually paid $100 for it, but the retail value of it maybe was several hundred US dollars. But then because it was when he was like early, outdoor equipment is just so expensive here. So when he did come to America, he was so pleasantly surprised about how inexpensive outdoor gear was. He would just buy these things because he was so excited about how much he could get a winter jacket for, how much he could get a sleeping bag for. So this narrative over this damn winter sleeping bag about it's like this $1,000 sleeping bag. So when my girls and I take it away, we always refer to it as the $1,000 sleeping bag, but it like has actually gone up in increments to like $5,000.
Right.
Like it's just this mythical. It's so exaggerated
gold-plated.
now. And the problem is we can't actually sleep in it because it's too hot.
That's so funny. We had the opposite experience, and I'm sure we just bought like generic stuff from Torpedo 7, but our first summer here, we went camping, tenting, as Kiwis would call it, at O'Kane's Bay, which is the kind of like the classic Canterbury camping spot.
Yes.
Right, middle of summer, February. I think it was Waitangi weekend.
Were you cold?
I was so cold. I was freezing at night in the middle of summer. So again, not hardcore enough for this, And so soon after we bought like a classic Kiwi caravan from the 60s.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what we take out now. And it's super small, like very, very small. Our kids are young; they're 6 and 3.
Oh, okay.
So in a few years, it'll become too small. But for now, it's fun and it's easy to tow around, and we can all just kind of sleep in one king-ish size bed. But yeah, I was shocked that like I'm camping in the middle of the summer and I'm so cold at night that I can't sleep.
It does. I do try to explain that though. When the sun is out here, I'll feel like, oh my gosh, it's like 90 degrees. And then I look on my phone and it's like 68, but the sun makes it feel so much stronger.
Totally.
Hotter.
That is something that I found too, that the sun is like hugely influential here in a way that like I've never experienced before. Yeah.
Same. And then, so when the sun goes down, well, at home in our summer months, you did not cool off at nighttime. It stayed muggy and hot.
Yeah.
And here, almost I can't remember having an uncomfortable hot night's sleep really, because it seems to really cool down at nighttime.
Yeah.
And so when you're camping, I guess when the sun goes down. I love O'Kane's Bay. We camped there before we had the place in Akaroa. Okay. And now that we have the place, bird's eye, it's so close.
Right.
But driving it takes like 25 minutes. And so we'll go over for like a day trip. And I love how, first of all, it's never crowded.
Yeah.
I've never seen it really crowded. And then if you're not camping there, you have to park in the public. There's like no one parked there. You just drive in and get a park, or you can drive on the beach. I won't do that with my car, but you could drive on the beach. And then you walk in, it has like the fun waves for kids to boogie board and surf. I don't know if it's surfing, but the waves they can jump in. And then you walk down, it's like a lazy lagoon.
It's pretty awesome.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. There's we haven't done this, but like there's people that leave their caravans there for almost all. I think like you can't leave it there over winter.
Okay.
But for like 9 months of the year, you can kind of just like buy a pretty cheap caravan and like basically have a batch at the beach for, whatever, like much less than a beach house, like.
Yeah. I love it there. And my kids are now 11 and one just turned 14 last week. And so I'll bring their friends over, and then if some want to do the big waves, okay, they're happy. You want to go over and just lay in the lagoon, okay, happy. And I'm just Americans always comment on these beautiful beaches having no people at them.
Yeah, totally.
I said, because we have so many beaches and not a big population.
Yeah.
I mean, were your beaches in Hawaii scarce like that? Because you have so much ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I think my opinion is slightly not right. Like the last time I like full-time lived in Hawaii was in college. So I was like 22 years old. So like certainly every single time I go back, I notice how much more crowded it is, you know? But no, I mean, to your point, right? Like I feel the same thing that like oftentimes in New Zealand, I'm just like, where's the people? Like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Like it's nicely not crowded in that sense. But, and you said you've been here for 3 years?
So I came in July 2021.
Okay.
So a year break before you.
Yeah.
And so we came when there was MIQ.
What is that?
Oh, managed isolation.
Oh, okay.
We had to go into a hotel room for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not fun. And we traveled across America in an RV for 2 weeks before that.
Oh, fun.
Also, we sold our house the day we got in the RV to leave.
Uh-huh.
So it was like we closed down the house. I think my kids had like a last swim lesson that day.
Yeah.
It was just a lot.
You're right.
We had a dog, but the dog went to a friend's house because my parents went. Where did they went to Iceland or something? I don't know. They basically took off like when we were leaving because they. Well,
you're moving to the other side of the world. See you later.
Well, that's not how they are. Really, it was too hard on them. So they didn't want to be there for our waving goodbye.
That's sadder
so,
than I'm making it out to be.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
So I think also like she just missed my email where I said this is the day we're driving. Like she knew when we were flying out of LA, but not, this is my mom, but not when we were driving away of New Hampshire in an RV.
Yeah.
So we had to bring both our vehicles to their house because we needed them up until that day.
Mm-hmm.
So we left our truck and SUV at. I'm never gonna have a truck again in this country with like the petrol prices.
Yeah.
But we brought those to their house, dropped them off, and she sold them when she got back. And then our dog went to a friend's house, but the dog did come here eventually. It was just a long.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the whole experience, right? Like there's so much stuff to figure out.
Did you have to sell a house?
We still own our house in DC.
Very smart. Very smart. This is something my husband has to hear about every month or so because that's the biggest regret and we can't go backwards.
Really? Yeah.
Hugest regret because actually it was like paid off the year that we were moved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because we bought in like 2008 and New Hampshire house prices weren't insane back then. And we had lake access. We had 10 acres.
Oh, wow.
And we just won't be able to get back into that market.
Yeah.
And we could have been renting it out and having the income here.
Yeah. I'm sure the sell, though, was hugely beneficial when you first got here. Oh, okay. That's what Akaroa is from. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes I love Akaroa and sometimes it's like,
it's a reminder of your regret. Well, I mean, yeah, I completely understand that opinion. And from a financial standpoint, I totally understand that keeping the house is probably the better option.
Yes.
But the flip side of that is like, I really hate having this thing in the back of my mind that we are never going back to DC.
Do you have a rental company?
We have a rental management company, and that's fairly straightforward. Like there are no complications. Our renters, we've had the same renters since we left. So like we haven't had to do a whole bunch of stuff. Like it's been pretty straightforward. We haven't had major things break with the house.
Good.
Like all in all, it's been a very smooth experience. And yet I still just don't like having this thing in the back of my mind that like, what if something did break and there's $10,000 US dollars that I now have to pay for, which is now like 17,000 New Zealand dollars, you know, like how that kind of sucks having to have that be in the back of my mind. So we've asked a realtor about like, is this a good time to sell? And like, I don't know. I think I want to do it, but it's just not the right time. So for now we have it, but it's fine.
Are you eligible to buy here yet? Have you been here long enough?
Yeah, we are eligible, but like, I don't enjoy the experience of owning a home really. Like it's so right. Like I guess I haven't found too many cultural differences, but one thing that I've definitely noticed is that when I tell Kiwis that like buying a home here, like isn't that big of a motivating factor for me. Many people have said like, oh, that's so different to like the Kiwi mindset. Like it is just kind of beat into you from the day you're born. I'm just like, you have to buy a house, and like, and I think that exists somewhat in America too, right? But like, it feels way more of a big deal here. And I just like, I don't.
It might be generational. My friend lives in Santa Barbara and is my age and home buying is just probably not going to be in the cards. But
Yeah.
her dad is my dad's generation from New Hampshire, very similar. And he can't even understand how she doesn't want to own a home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think some of it, I don't know, because my husband's actually, he's older than me. He's in his 50s. And yeah, he said, like, New Zealand used to be a place that it was easy to own a home. Like when he was growing up, it was very obtainable, and it was just like versus the Kiwi dream versus the American dream was very actually similar. Of it was an easy pathway to home ownership, and that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah.
We already owned a home here because he owned a home.
Okay. Yeah.
So his house was ruined in the 2011 earthquake. We were living overseas in America, and so the options were rebuy, rebuild, or take a cash payout, but the cash payout was very, very low. And because they didn't really want anyone to do that. They wanted people to rebuild.
Yeah.
But rebuilding from overseas would have been just a nightmare because everyone was rebuilding and he was still servicing a mortgage. So we rebought across in another area of town.
Okay.
And then that house was immediately rented out. So we never saw it. We bought it in an auction. It was rented out. We did not see it until the day we moved here or got to Christchurch. And it is not what the pictures made it
Really?
look like.
Oh, no.
It had been rented out for 10 years, so it definitely had a lot of wear and tear. And it just, my kids are now 11 and 14, but so now they even take up more space, but it was much smaller than what we had.
Yeah.
And I was just, there's no space for me to have a desk or an office space. So there's like the bedrooms and the living room and kitchen.
Yeah.
So there is nowhere to hide. Like that's what I was telling you. I come here on Thursdays to do my schoolwork and stuff because I go to the computer lab because there's no place in this house to escape anybody.
Right.
And
So the house that you were renting is the house that you live in now?
yes.
Yep.
So that's why we already owned that house.
Right.
So that's how we got into the market. But we've been trying to buy another house since we moved here. And we've gone to many auctions, but then you go in at an RV where they say what the rate value is. Because another thing is they don't put the price on houses here.
No, it's crazy.
Right. So you don't know.
Yeah.
So you go
Everything is just like to be auctioned.
You go to an open home and you say, okay, so how much do you think this house will go for? And the realtors lie because they want as many people at the auction as possible. They want to fill a room.
So they say way lower
So they
rates.
say way lower.
Oh, okay.
So like, let's just say they're like, oh, we think it's going to go for about 1.1 to 1.3. Okay, we'll be at the auction. Then it goes for 1.8. And you're like, I just wasted my time. And not only your time, you have to go through the lawyer before you go to the auction. You have to do all your due diligence before. So if you have to pay a building inspector, if the law is you have to pay a lawyer to review stuff before the auction.
Wow.
So now you're wasting all this money.
Yeah.
And then you're blown out of the water within seconds.
Jeez.
It's rude.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
exhausting.
Like we don't own a home. I haven't really gone through any of the process to own a home here, but I've heard of generally the process, kind of like what you're talking about. And from an American's perspective, it sounds crazy. Like it sounds like wild, wild west out here, like how does anyone like wrangle this crazy process? And then like once you do own the home, the idea of not having a fixed mortgage rate for the duration is like, so like for people listening, like in New Zealand, I think you lock in for a certain period of time, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But then after that's up, then your interest rate changes based on the market. And it's like, how do families like budget? Like, how do you have your mortgage payment change by hundreds of dollars?
Well, that's why they're struggling. So my friend, their mortgage changed and it went up by $400 a week.
A week?
A week.
Jeez.
So that's her disposable income.
Yeah.
So she can't do anything fun anymore until the rates get adjusted.
And when is that?
I don't know.
Like years?
She said they're coming down, but I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like the flip side of that also seems crazy that we have fixed year 30 rate mortgages. That also, I can understand that also seems crazy, but this just seems impossible. Like I don't understand how people live, like there's not, what if she didn't have extra $400 a week,
To her here, theirs went up when the mortgage rates, when the interest rates went up and they had to move.
Wow.
So a lot of people were selling because they did downsize. Yeah. And then the other problem we face is these leaky building syndrome. So a lot of houses built between 1990 and 2005, I think it is. I call it stucco, but like they don't have a cavity. This is all like very building type. I don't know. Or like, but basically they're getting very damp and wet.
Right.
And
mold in homes is a big problem here. Yeah.
So the mortgage lenders are not lending to people right now they're really starting to turn away from any home built between 1990 and 2006. That's like everything on the market right now in the areas I want to live, because they're trying to flick them off, because the remediation to take off all the siding and redo it is insane. And also, you have to have scaffolding here on any residential house and building. So I don't know if in America, we don't have like scaffolding companies unless they're doing huge city.
Right. More commercial projects than residential.
Here, I don't know if you noticed, but there's like 900 scaffolding companies.
I haven't noticed that. But.
There's so many. Every scaffolding you see like has a different name. There's so many of them. And it's because the legislation here requires scaffolding even to do any work on your house, like paint the exterior of your house, do the roof. Where in America, it's like, no, those guys can get on the roof and fall off. We don't care.
Right. That's what a ladder's for,
Yeah. And so that's why my husband always says, he's like, if they change the legislation like in Massachusetts and they require scaffolding to do these basic house renovations or roofing, we're going to move back right away because I'm going to get entry to this. Like that will be, because he knows the people who got on it early here back in, I don't know, the 90s.
Now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so people can't do these home renovations without scaffolding, and it's such big money to pay. So people, that adds to the price of fixing.
For sure.
That was where I was getting at. It really adds to the costs of fixing these old leaky homes.
Yeah.
And then there's just other stuff that comes up. I find a house I love, and then a lot of it does come down to moist and dampness. Seems to be a big issue, or other earthquake damage that wasn't fully fixed.
Right.
That's a big one. So they kind of threw some paint on it, made it look good, but they didn't fix the structural damage with the earthquake money.
Okay.
Instead, they bought really nice furniture or something.
Just kind of cover it up.
Yeah. And so it's definitely hard to navigate. So stay renting.
So your husband is from Christchurch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he's familiar with a lot of this building stuff where people coming in from overseas.
Right.
Because you only have a seller's agent here.
Right.
A seller's vendor's agent. Yeah, you don't have a buyer's agent. So the person you're dealing with is just trying to make the sale.
Right.
They're not. So the lawyer will go through a lot of the history of the house and the legality of it.
Yeah,
but
so much more is on the buyer to do their due diligence on their own, which is it's a lot to ask, I think.
Yeah, especially when did you know that they had single glazed windows?
No.
Is your house is your house warm? Maybe it's newer.
So we've had 2 rentals here. The one that we're in now is slightly warmer, I think because it's slightly smaller and it has that like in-roof ventilation system.
Yeah. We put that in because we were, when we first moved here, because it was July, August, every morning you had to take a squeegee and a towel and wipe down the windows, and there was puddles. And he's like, oh, that's crying windows. I'm like, take me home.
Yeah, that's how our first house was. In general, like central heating is like very rare here. Like people just have generally, I'm blanking on the name.
HRV.
No, the wall units.
Oh, yeah, we have these.
Yeah, just whatever those things that you put on your wall that's for heating and cooling.
I forget what it's called right now too, and that's what we have too.
But no, I mean, I don't even think that idea crossed my mind ever in the States until we started actually going through the process of like, okay, we're going to move here. Let's start looking at like potential houses online before we get here. And then hearing people in Facebook groups like the one that we're in of talking about like, oh, make sure you look out for single glazed windows and houses are cold and the crying windows like that. And just things that like I never even crossed my mind before.
Yeah.
But we didn't move from the first house because it was cold. Like it was definitely noticeable like, oh, this house is a bit chilly, but like it wasn't that big of a deal.
And since you're not as hardy as a New Englander,
that's true.
You would really have noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's funny because I have a friend here from Fiji and she just cannot get over the weather here. She's just miserable about it. And I was like, it's not that bad, but obviously we're just coming from very different climates.
Totally.
And so that does make a big difference. So the guest I had on last week, they're from Minnesota.
Okay.
So I said, why New Zealand? And she said, so my husband could play golf all year round. They knew they wanted to move to another country, but she said not having to learn another language.
Yeah.
And the climate was their motivating factors. And
so are they here in Christchurch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. Like just to.
They started in Auckland though.
Oh, really? I've heard, I mean, it seems like a lot of people are kind of moving from Auckland down here. I think for affordability is a big part of it.
It is. It's the traffic up there is really crazy. And then the affordability of housing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of construction businesses downsizing or closing up in Auckland, but not down here because we're having so much expansion from people moving from the North Island. Yeah. And I don't think it's for the climate.
Yeah, I think I acknowledge that I'm certainly probably an outlier in terms of what I prioritize.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, having a bit of it is probably always like grass is always greener effect. You know what I mean? Like Christchurch is great, but I think if I had option to live anywhere, I would sacrifice like the affordability and livability and, you know, kind of booming upcomingness of Christchurch for like the super far north of just like give me a shack by the beach that's like as warm as I can possibly get in this country and I'll deal with the rest, you know?
Yeah.
But I that's probably an outlier opinion, right? Like especially people with families.
Yeah.
Right. Like we need to go where the jobs are. We need some place that's livable.
Yeah.
And Christchurch is all of that. Like it is very good.
Yeah.
And I'm probably just being complacent.
Well, I think when some people were like, oh, you moved to New Zealand, they thought I was going to be in this house on the beach or, you know, or not Christchurch. Yeah. That's not the image you see when you think of New Zealand. And I think Akaroa gives me a little bit more of that image. And then when I used to read books based in New Zealand, I went back and was like, where was that town? And it's always the High North Island.
Totally.
Everything is the High North Island.
Well, and I think like, especially me coming from Hawaii, like I always felt like a level of familiarity with New Zealand because of like the shared cultural, political, historical, you know, like there's a native Polynesian population and then colonization happened and then modern day society is like a mix of those two worlds, you know, like all of that kind of made it seem like a familiar place to me, even though I'd never been here, like I was saying. But now being in Christchurch, I think that idea that I was just describing of New Zealand is much more accurate of North Island than Christchurch. Like Christchurch feels more like a European city than it does like a Polynesian city, you know?
And my friend another friend down the hall who's doing her schoolwork, she's from the North Island, she's Māori. And so when they came down here recently for affordability, less population, and she's like, where are all the Māori people? And I actually didn't realize that. I didn't realize that until she explained it to me, that they're all still up on the North Island. They don't want this cold weather.
Yeah.
Their bodies aren't made for this either.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty shocking to me too. I was like, oh wow, it's very white in Christchurch.
Yes. Yeah. My kids do go to a school with 52 different countries.
Cool.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a very diverse school and a lot of Cook Islands and Samoans and actually not so many Māoris at their school, but a lot of Asian countries, Indian. And so when we lived in New Hampshire, they had zero diversity. So this is
right.
Like
it's all like perspective and where you're coming from and like what your benchmark is, right? Yeah, right. Like coming from New England, certainly, right? Like, and even for me, like I guess I'm benchmarking it from Hawaii mainly, but then even DC, it's like a very, very multicultural, you know, like it being the capital of the states, you know, like there's people from all over the world there for various political, government, diplomatic type stuff. So yeah, it's just, I guess, all kind of what your benchmark is. Yeah.
And I mean, my kids were talking about never seeing Native Americans in their life, you know, at least obvious, you know, they probably still have some in their bloodline, but yeah. And then even when we did the RV trip across America and then we were, Nevada, you know, when we were out west and we were seeing Native American people and they were like, oh, you know, and I was like, yeah, America. Yeah.
Just never exposed to it.
Yeah, like the exposure. And then here they get to do they learn Māori at school, and then they do the kapa haka.
Yeah.
And they go to the town hall and they do the dance and the singing. And when I first posted that on social media back home, people were like, can the white kids do that? I'm like, it's part of the curriculum. It's part of the education.
Yeah.
And there's so many people moving here from other parts of the world that they need to keep that in the education, or else people aren't going to learn it and understand and respect the culture.
Yeah.
And they explain it that they're teaching them to respect the culture and respect the language. And, it's definitely not cultural appropriation in the way that the schools are educating them. And so I had another Māori friend write a whole thing for me that I could share with Americans who kept asking me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a reflection of kind of like what I was saying before, of there is and was an indigenous Polynesian population, and then colonization, and what modern day society is a mix of all that. And so, what modern day society is in New Zealand, no matter where in the country you are, is that like Māori language and culture is still very much like a part of people's lives, even if you aren't Māori yourself. And for me, that was like a big pro. Like Hawaii is very similar. Like as a kid growing up in school, like you learn like super basic Hawaiian words and phrases, and you do like super basic hula dances, and like you're saying, like it wasn't ever like cultural appropriation. That's just what culture is there. You know what I mean? Like I am not native Hawaiian, but there is Hawaii culture that everyone has,
Yes.
And so that was a cool part for me, that like my kids aren't getting like that Hawaii culture, but like it's very similar here, like that they're learning like about Māori culture and phrases and words, like they'll do like karakias before we eat dinner sometimes, and
that's, can you speak some of the language?
Māori?
Yeah.
No, I mean like, no, I don't really know any te reo, but it's really interesting that there are a lot of very similar Hawaiian and te reo Māori words.
Oh, are there? Okay,
just because like they're both Polynesian languages, right?
Like,
like wahine is woman, right? That's the same word in both languages. In Hawaiian, kane is man, tane is man here. So like a lot of similarities. Yeah.
That's cool.
What's funny though is that my son's middle name is Kai, which in Hawaiian means ocean, but in here means food.
Yeah.
And so it's so hilarious that like we live in New Zealand now and my son's middle name is food, like.
Well, my daughter's name is Annika, and it's Swedish. My grandfather's Swedish.
Yeah.
Again, when she was born in America, never planned on living here. It wasn't in my thought, but here it's Anika, and it is a Māori name. And there was a singer here named Anika Moa, and when I first met my husband 20 years ago, he would play her CD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it would be playing in the car a lot. And so when we named her, and I was all about the Swedish pronunciation, and he kept saying Anika. I'm like, no, that's not it, because of like the singer.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, that's kind of cute. That's a CD you listen to all the time when we were dating.
Yeah.
We'll play that. That's a good, meaningful, like when we were picking the name, I'm like, it plays into the meaningfulness behind it.
Yeah.
And now here, and everyone calls her that, and she doesn't correct them. And I said, you can correct them.
Yeah.
You don't have to, go by that.
Does she kind of like it though? Or like, does it make her feel
No, she doesn't
more...
like it.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
No, she just feels bad. And I think she feels bad that teachers have to learn so many names from around the world.
Yeah.
That she's like, oh, I don't want to add to their stress.
Yeah.
Because my other daughter plays korfball, which is this net sport here. And
I've never heard of it.
yeah, it's weird. It's like netball, but even different than netball.
Okay.
And so I coached netball, and I didn't even know anything about it.
I don't even know if I can describe what netball is.
Another.
Oh, netball is like basketball, right?
Yeah.
But there's no backboard. It's just the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one that was like the first sport that was ever invented to specifically be a women's sport, right?
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I read that.
It might be because it is a girl's sport.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a girl's. I mean, boys play now, but at school it's a girl's sport.
Yeah.
So, and there's like the movement, how you can move or move backwards, and you have to stick in a position. But the netball. Oh, her coach. They got a new student to play, and the coach asked his name, and he said, yeah, I'm just going to call you Z. I don't know. I can't say that. And he just kept saying that. And my daughter goes, that is so rude.
Yeah.
It's so rude. He needs to learn his name, not just say, no, that's too complicated.
Yeah.
And
this was a kid from another country?
Yeah. And so my daughter was the one reacting to it.
Yeah.
She didn't like that. And so she was trying to figure out his name so she could call him by his real name. But
that's good of her.
Yeah, it just, she's brought it up a few times. She said the coach is still calling him the name he wants to call him because it's easy.
Yeah.
So she said he was being lazy. And I wasn't taking his defense completely, but I was like, I know, but he has to learn all these new names in general.
Yeah.
And so maybe he's just not good. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder if part of that too is like, I don't know. I notice sometimes in myself, like American sensitivities towards like, I guess, quote unquote, political correctness, like that doesn't really exist here to the degree that it does in America, you know? Like, yeah, I remember, I don't know, like a few weeks of being in my new job here, which I don't work at Lincoln University anymore, but having someone say something in the office, and I don't remember exactly what they said, but just being like, whoa, like I would not have heard that in an American workplace in like 10 years, like that's a pretty wild thing you just said.
I actually briefly worked at city council here. And like when I first came here, I was desperate to hurry up and work when we got here just to meet people. And that was the first job I applied to, was they hired me. And then there was some signage in the office, and I can't remember exactly what it is right this minute. I would actually share it. I don't care. But I can't remember. But I remember I took a picture. I was like, holy cow. Yeah. Not only, it was culture shock that they could just say this or write this.
So along those lines, like I'm sure people in your life, like family, friends from back home, like ask you about culture shock, or even Kiwis here, I guess.
Yeah.
What was your answer when you first moved here, or is your still answer? Like, do you feel like a lot of culture shock, or not really?
Not so much anymore, but I think the common conversation that comes up at my dinner table with my kids is, oh, you're not going to believe what this teacher said. You're not going to believe what this kid says and gets away with. You're not going to believe. So there's still...
And you think it's different? Like you think it's a here thing?
No, it's not PC,
and
it's not it's not what they find to be appropriate under American culture. Yeah, and so they bring that up a lot, and so they've been here 3 years, and they're still having that surprise.
Yeah, so we don't get that because our kids weren't in school. You know what I mean? Like they were 3 and 1 when we moved here. Yeah. Like the 1-year-old like wasn't even talking at all. Right. Like he wasn't saying anything.
Oh, so he'll have a full Kiwi accent.
I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet. Like I was so sure, and like my wife and I would talk about this all the time about like she would say like, oh no, they're not going to get accents, and I would be like, for sure they are, and they'll say words that come out with a Kiwi accent, but like by and large their accent is very American still. Yeah. Even the now 3-year-old who was not saying a single word when we moved here, like he certainly says more things that sound Kiwi, like he doesn't really say R's, like he'll say ka, and
he could be from Boston or New Zealand.
And like I laugh at it, so he does it a lot more now, but like he'll like the other day he said like, "Good day, mate," and like it's just stuff he learns at school. Yeah. And for my daughter, the 6-year-old, the words that I noticed her saying with a Kiwi accent the most at first were just words that she had never heard before, which was typically people's names at school, right? Like just someone she got introduced to. I never heard this name before, and they're saying it with a Kiwi accent, obviously. Yes, so then she just mimics that.
Yes.
But yeah, like little by little, like if she's counting, she'll say like 7 now and 10 instead of 7 and 10.
That's cute. But you're probably still their biggest influencers of language. Yeah. But the more they're out of the home, more they'll pick up on that. I notice how my kids say friends' names. Yeah. Like one is, I read it as Ariana, but when they're like Ariana and they like roll their tongue, that sounds that sounds nice. When you came here, did you just come with suitcases, or like how did you move your stuff, or did you just start from scratch? Because I am a stuff person, like to a degree that is very comical to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'm a memory keeper. I am my family's memory keeper for sure.
Yeah.
So I am an extreme to a level that's not normal for a lot of people. So
right, like going through the process of moving, the decision was like 3 categories of ship, sell, or store.
Okay.
And we pretty quickly ruled out like storing stuff is dumb. I'm not going to pay for a storage unit in a city that I'm never going to go back to. Like even if we go back to the States one day, it's not going to be DC, there. Right? Yeah. So like I'm not going to pay $100 a month for a storage unit. Like this is dumb. So yeah, then it was ship or sell. We sold a bunch of stuff, but we did ship half a container's worth of things. Okay. So
like half of a 40 or half of a 20?
I don't know. I don't remember at this point anymore. But because we didn't have a full container's worth, it got delayed for a long time because the shipping company had to wait for it to be filled with other people's crap before they would put it on the boat. But luckily, the first house that we rented here was partly furnished. And it was just like a crazy coincidence that exactly the stuff that we didn't ship over was the stuff that they left at their house.
Wow. Lucky.
So that was just like but yeah, like we shipped beds and a bunch of kitchen stuff and like kids' bikes and camping equipment. That was too cold, like I was saying. But yeah, like we didn't ship like a couch or a kitchen table. So
well, when you talk about that with culture shock too, when the last time my husband was here 20 years ago now, but everything was so expensive, you know, because everything had to be imported. And his memory of living here was everything was so expensive. So he had us wearing every winter boot, every winter jacket, every camping equipment, all the outdoorsy stuff that had generally always been really pricey here. And even shoes, like, you know, leather shoes, sneakers, like Levi's, like, you know, I don't even wear Levi's, but that's just an example he gives of like, wow, people who had Levi's were rich, you know? So all of these things that in his memory of growing up here were so expensive. So we brought all this stuff, and then you get here and it's not like that so much anymore.
So he finds it more affordable now as New Zealand has become more, I guess, connected to the rest of the world, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's not as crazy as it once was. Like
still expensive though.
It's still expensive. It's still expensive, of course, but you know, like still I don't want to go buy a down jacket here. Yeah. You know, a North Face jacket is like $800 or something.
It's crazy. The first feeling of regret, and to be clear, I don't feel regret moving here, but the first feeling of regret was when we went to the grocery store, supermarket as they call it. They don't really say grocery store.
Yeah.
The first supermarket trip. And you know, like it's the first big one, so you have to stock up on all the staples that you don't really need to buy. So like we had to buy more stuff for sure, but still like,
oh my gosh, how much was it?
It was like $500.
Okay.
I'm just like, I've never spent $500 at the grocery store before. Like this is.
Yeah. Oh, so your kids weren't really eating yet either. No, you had a baby.
Right. That's true. That might be normal for other families, but yeah, I don't know. That was kind of just like the first feeling of like, oh God, what have we done? Like, is this too crazy? Is this like unattainable? You know, like.
So funny. I have never once looked at prices at a grocery store my whole life. Like I grew up in a home where we didn't need, you know, my mom was like, buy healthy food, you know, whatever. And then it was always like buying healthy stuff was just a priority. And it was easy for me to prioritize it, I guess, because we could. You know, now I look back, it's actually been really good for me to learn this lesson because I've had friends that are like, well, we can't afford to buy that healthy food. And I'm like, well, you can afford to spend money on XYZ kind of thing. You know, I've had that attitude towards people who'd never put healthy food as a priority. And now that I live here in the cost and we're on one income right now, I am looking at cheap food sometimes, and I am having a very different view. I also owned a grocery store for many years, so we lived off the grocery store. Yeah. So there was a long period of time where
we did that here, or that was back in New Hampshire? Okay, yeah.
So we didn't have to buy food.
Okay.
But there was also a period when I sold it and then preparing to move here where I was going to grocery stores. Yeah. And it still was like we buy what we eat. That, you know, not what we eat, but I buy what I want and I don't worry about the price.
Yeah.
Oh no, here, if I see one strawberry come home like, they packed a strawberry for lunch and didn't eat it. I was like, do not waste it. Put it in the freezer. We'll save it, like use it in a smoothie.
That was generally like always the attitude I had of just like, we don't waste food in this family.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality has helped
here,
when it is so expensive. But
like when we just went home for Christmas and we went to Trader Joe's and they had like organic raspberries for $1.99.
Oh my God. I miss Trader Joe's.
My fruit lover child was loading up the carts because then here you can only get fruit when it's seasonal.
Right.
So it's so seasonal. So she was like, it's winter and I can get raspberries. And so and then here I would never let her sit down and eat the container at once. When we're home, I'm like, go for it. Eat the whole container.
Right.
Yeah, eat two if you want.
Who cares? Yeah.
And when we went home and went to Trader Joe's, my kids had euphoria in the store because I was like, no, we can't get that. We can't get that. And the access and the abundance.
Yeah.
And they were explaining their feelings to me and they were giddy. and then they said, and you weren't even stressing out. When we go into a grocery store in New Zealand, you turn into a monster. I'm like, I just start saying, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't get that. So they said that they really prefer me as a mother.
In America?
I think when it comes to like going to stores, it's more like the store stuff. Like
I need America Mom back.
Like, but it comes down to budgeting and stuff. So it just seems like I'm not as fun.
But then what's also, I don't know if you feel this, but like the few times that we've been back to the States since moving here, like that's also crazy expensive now because of the exchange rate, like, okay, yeah, sure. That thing of raspberries is $2 American, but that's really $4 for me because I don't earn US dollars anymore. I earn New Zealand dollars, like
couple trips back, we still had US money. Okay. So that was easy.
Yeah.
This last time we just went home, my husband actually didn't go. It was just the girls and I for Christmas.
Yeah.
And he didn't go because of affordability. And he also didn't get the like long time off for Christmas that a lot of us get here.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were on New Zealand dollars that time.
Right.
And it was not as fun. I mean, yes, we did the Trader Joe's stuff, but more or less when we got back and he did the exchange rate on what we spent, it wasn't a fun conversation.
Yeah.
No, it was not fun. And so, because the exchange rate got really bad for Kiwis, and it's still kind of bad, but it was really bad around Christmas. And I mean, we were staying with my mom, and so
that helps a lot.
It's not like we were paying for accommodation. Yeah. Honestly, we weren't really having to pay for food. She made most of the meals. It was just that fun. It was fun to go to the grocery store and buy what we wanted. But
or just thinking about like, if you're out for lunch and you're just grabbing like fast food or whatever, like something simple like a $10, $12 lunch, where it's like, oh, that's not really $12. It's more like $20,
And my parents in their retirement love going out to eat. We didn't do that when I was growing up, but this is their stage that they love. Yeah. So they're like, oh, let's go here. Oh, let's stop for lunch. And they treated. So, that was fun. But that's another thing my friend and I were talking about. When we go home, our kids are nostalgic, but it's because we're visiting.
Yeah.
That's not.
Right. They're not responding to America. They're responding to vacation.
More or less. Yeah. And I feel like when some people come here as well, they come for 2 weeks and they want to move here, but they're still responding to a vacation. Yeah. Not every day paying bills. I don't know.
I think that's true. Yeah. I mean, although to be clear, like I am glad that we moved here.
Yeah, you're happy. Yeah.
we are in normal life here, and it's very good.
So do you think you'll stay here forever?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. We have no other plan, right? We have no timeline. We didn't come here saying like we'll be here for X number of years. Yeah. I guess if I were to picture myself like 60, 70, 80 years old, I would be surprised if I was in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We don't have any other plans. But like that's, I guess, tying that in with the affordability thing. Like, I think if you do move here with the intention of being here forever, it becomes much easier to wrap your head around that but like for us thinking like, okay, if we aren't here forever, then right, like it's super nice when you move here initially with US dollars.
Yes.
Pretty quickly that goes away, and then it's all the same, right? Yeah. Like New Zealand in, New Zealand out. But then if we were to ever move back, then it's the complete opposite experience where it's like we have a bunch of New Zealand money that we are moving to a much more expensive country
Yeah.
from. And so now all of our money is essentially being cut in half. And so making that move back seems like pretty daunting and difficult. But that's not why we would stay or not stay.
Yeah.
It's really just, for me, like all my family is still in Hawaii. Like that's like the biggest thing of like, it would be nice to, I don't know, have my kids be around their cousins more is the big thing.
Right.
What about you? Like, I mean, if your husband's from here, I'd imagine it's an easier decision to say like, oh, this is home now, or
No.
no, really? Okay.
No, because we came back for his dad, but his dad's in his 80s.
Yeah.
And my parents are still in their 60s.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, obviously.
They wouldn't come here?
No. No, my dad's very set up in.
Yeah.
They've lived in the exact same place pretty much since I was born, and I'm 42.
Yeah.
And they are talking about downsizing at least as they get older, but it would be within proximity of where they are. And so my husband said when we came here, he knew it was very likely that we would be going back when my parents aged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I wouldn't leave them. I wouldn't leave them alone to age.
Yeah.
And yes, my parents are coming in 2 weeks,
Okay.
but it's my dad's first time coming to visit since we moved here.
Okay.
My mom came once before for a school holiday.
Yeah.
I was working and, well, my husband and I were both working, and so she spent time with the kids.
Yeah.
And she's very active, so they went on a road trip, and then I did end up taking a week off, and we did the Alps to Ocean bike ride together,
Cool. Yeah.
my two girls and my mom and I, and that was so fun.
Yeah.
So I'm not going on their little vacation, but they're going up to the North Island and doing the glowworm caves. They're doing Coromandel. They're doing
In the glowworms in Waitomo, those ones?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we were just there. It was cool. It was really cool.
I know. I have FOMO already. Like I want to go with them.
Coromandel is awesome too. That
Okay.
is like beautiful, tropical. Like it looks a lot like Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah.
I rode next to a guy on the airplane from there, and he said, "You haven't really lived in New Zealand until you come up there."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, Christchurch, like, he's like, you're not getting a good representation of New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to come up here.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we have no cops. He's like, we grow a lot of weed. Like he was just like really selling it to me apparently. But yeah, he was funny. But he lives half the time in America because he married an American. So he has a job. He does construction. So he's like, I've set up a business in Coromandel where I can work, and then I go and do my construction work and stuff. I can't remember where in America he was going.
Oh man,
but
it's a good setup.
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. So he.
Yeah, if you have a way to earn U.S. dollars while living in New Zealand, like that's the setup. Like to anyone who's thinking about moving, like before you make the move, if you can, somehow convince your current job to just set you.
I know.
Yeah, you can go work permanent remote, and you can keep earning U.S. dollars, and just like, but getting, I guess, visa here would be the difficult part.
Well, they are offering them now.
Oh,
they
really?
might not be long term, but they are offering a remote working situation because they want those American earners to come here and spend money.
Yeah, yeah.
But not take our jobs.
Right.
So
Okay.
there's a new visa for that.
Oh, cool.
And the other part of that too is I say if people have a rental income in America, and it's actual generating income, not just covering costs, then that is another way to do it because, you just get paid into your American bank account and then just use one of the good travel credit cards that has no fees, and then you just pay it off with that is why I wish that we still had our house and we're renting it, because
you would have had income from it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, our house is just it covers the mortgage.
And then not just the income from it, but then it would just give me that sense of I have something to go back to, because when I do go back, I'm not living with my parents. That would never happen.
But when you go back, it would be New Hampshire because of your parents. Like
yes, because of the community, friends, family that I have there. Yeah, I liked it there. Because we lived in the mountains and the lake. It wasn't city, but you could be in Boston in an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, that's
so
close.
my husband actually commuted to Boston every day for 6 years.
No way.
And that was not good for him. That was very good for me.
Wow.
It was good for us because he made, Boston money. We had New Hampshire living expenses. And then, but he just was never home.
Yeah.
Never home. Even if he left at 3 a.m., he'd get home at 8 p.m. I'd keep the kids up, and they were little. I'd keep them up to have dinner with them, and then we'd all go to bed, and it was exhausting. So this life here, my kids will be like, why don't we have the same amount of money or something? And he's like, but I'm home all the time. I'm always home.
Who cares?
I know. Well, now they're teenagers. They're
Yeah.
not toddlers anymore. They're like, Daddy, we miss you. We love you. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Well, my 11-year-old is very, very close. So she loves him home, loves it.
Yeah.
It's the teenager that's like,
Could
yeah,
care
we'd
less,
rather
yeah,
you
right.
work. So his quality of life is so incredibly better here.
Yeah.
So much better. He's just home all the time. His job is
What
normal.
line of work does he do?
He works in construction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good. I mean, as long as you're both on the same page with that.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I don't know if he's going to give up the Sakaroa thing. Now, that's the thing.
Nah.
We don't know. That is just...
can you hire like a farm manager or something like that?
I know. It's because it's not really a rental property, you know? It's not one... It would have to be someone who wants that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone out there. But that is his dream. Just the orchard and the garden, and it grows like every fruit you can imagine.
That's awesome.
And there's sheep on it that keep the grass down.
That's
and then
cool.
the farmer owns the sheep, but pays us a few sheep at the end of the season as payment for letting them do the grass. But it's actually great that they do the grass because then he doesn't have to mow it.
That sounds like sounds like you're living like the quintessential Kiwi life, you know, having your little orchard farm with the sheep and the...
Except my kids don't like it. So he goes by himself a lot. He's there almost every weekend. And sometimes a kid will go with him. Sometimes we all go. But then my teenager plays tennis on Saturdays. And then, she has a birthday party. So I don't get over there as often.
Yeah.
But when I do, the bellbirds, like all the birds sing, and it's very peaceful.
The whole Banks Peninsula is so amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been out to Hickory Bay, like the very end of the peninsula?
No.
It's like the very, very tip of Banks Peninsula.
Oh.
It's really nice. There's a farm there, and they have accommodation on their farm too.
Oh, yeah.
It's really,
I want
awesome.
to turn our place in Ecuador into an income.
Yeah.
But he's not ready to share it. But I actually did a whole MBA project on it where we went over and recorded and sold it as an Airbnb, but it's not actually on Airbnb.
Yeah, forget this podcast. Get into getting that home up and running.
Actually, my professor was asking if this could turn into promoting the property.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is I have ideas for the property. It's just convincing my husband to share it.
Yeah.
So what we would need to do is put on domes, like the glamping tents or the tiny homes, on a piece of the property that's away from the house.
Yeah.
So that he has his private space, and then the tourists or whatever come and stay in these domes and stuff.
Yeah.
So my next project is to price out all of that.
Hickory Bay is just the name of the name of the bay, but also the name of the farm. Like if you just Google Hickory Bay accommodation, whatever, it'll come up. But then there's also one in Lavrix Bay.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And Hickory Bay has like two homes. It's like a cabin and a cottage.
Okay.
Both of them are separate from the family's house. Like you can't ever see the family's house. And the two homes just have like a pathway through farmland to the beach.
Okay.
But you don't ever see their home.
Yeah.
And then in Lavrix Bay, there's kind of closer to what you're talking about of like glamping style. Like they don't have homes. They just have kind of like a glamping setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be interesting to compare those two.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking too. There's going to be times that it's slow, but it can be something that we don't have to rely on, but it's just the extra, the extra bonus. And then if it were to become so popular, and I actually love hosting people too. That's another thing. I love doing all those small little things. Like when we host people here, I act like it's a hotel. And I did that even before like Pinterest and Instagram existed. I've been doing that since
just your
before
personality.
It was an influencer thing. I just enjoy doing that. And then eventually if it led into something where I didn't have to keep trying to find work here,
totally,
then that would be great. So what's your favorite part about living here?
Well, there's a serious answer and a less serious answer. Both are completely true. The serious one is that I don't ever have to think about gun violence ever again.
Yeah.
A week after we left DC, there was an active shooter at my daughter's preschool.
Oh my gosh.
My 3-year-old daughter had an active shooter. Not obviously a 3-year-old, but it was like an adult.
In a preschool.
Yeah. A week after we left. Wow. I was like, okay, if we ever needed confirmation that this was a good decision, like that's it. So like, that's awesome. I don't, just like, doesn't exist in my brain anymore, you know? And the less serious, but still totally true, is just like we are so much more in nature here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could do that a lot of places in the States, but that wasn't our reality in
right,
DC.
Not in DC, yeah.
But yeah, like we're at the beach, we're hiking,
Yeah.
we're just like, and not just even in terms of the activities that we do, but just the way New Zealand is, you know what I mean? Like Christchurch is the second or third biggest city in the
Yeah.
country, but like there's farms everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's sheep everywhere. Like you're
Yeah.
in the city, but it doesn't feel
like
like
a
you're
city.
separate from nature. Like it's just
Yeah.
the natural environment. It just is all around you, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just a nice aspect to it. And right, like I think I would imagine a lot of Americans coming to New Zealand now, like they're doing so for reasons that are kind of more towards the serious end
Right.
of what I was talking about. Like they're
Right.
trying to escape or get out. And all of those things are true, but I think in that narrative, what gets lost is just like the fun and adventure and awesomeness of New Zealand. You know what I mean? Like it's both things. You know, like
Yes.
I'm trying to leave, I'm trying to escape. Sure, that's probably true, but like also going to something that you want because it's you
Yeah.
know like this ideal of adventure and fun. And I don't know, I found that to be very much true. You know, like we have, like I said, we have that little caravan, and
Yeah.
we can take that out on
Yeah.
weekends all the time, and we can just like drive 3 hours to Tekapo or to
Yeah.
you know Kaikoura, or you know it's
Yeah.
awesome and just like super easy to kind of explore beautiful landscapes.
Yeah.
And
I noticed my teenager often would be like, "Did you see the sunset? Did you see the moon? Did you? The sky here is so much clearer. The stars
Oh,
shine
yeah.
brighter." And I love, especially because she's a teenager, so unfortunately she has a phone, which drives me crazy. But when I'm driving down the road and she's like, "Did you see that?" and like appreciates all this beauty, and I think she might have had that before, but it's different beauty. You know, it's seeing
Yeah.
different things, and I love when they point out.
totally.
Like they're like, the sky is always just really blue here, you
Yeah.
know? And
That's cool.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, because my kids being so young, like they didn't appreciate things. They just
Yeah.
weren't aware enough. You know what I mean? But like your kids being older, that's really cool that they can remember and appreciate like this versus that.
Yeah.
You know? And
but when I've been training for this silly half marathon, the Christchurch Marathon. My mom's gonna come over and run it and sign me up. And I'm not really a runner, but I can do it. I just don't enjoy it. But I've been in Hagley Park a lot.
okay.
And all the mums with the littles,
Yeah.
the one and you know the toddlers, and just the little frog. I don't even know if it's a frog pond, but the little pond and the little kids' playground and the wet pad,
Yeah.
and just playing free in the park. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it looks so fun to raise little kids here because
It's-
I came in with olders.
Yeah,
but
that's true. So that was a big shock too, a very positive one, is that like New Zealand just feels so much more accommodating to families, you know?
Yeah.
Like in a lot of places in the States, if you have little kids, it just kind of feels like you are not unwelcome, but just
Yeah.
like a hassle. Like people aren't thinking of you. People aren't
Right.
thinking of your needs. Here, you go into like a bank or a hardware store or literally anywhere, and they just have kids' toys out. You know what I mean? Like we went to the like the garden center, you know, by our house, and there was like a kid's trampoline there. You know, like almost everywhere you go in New Zealand, there is kids stuff there.
there's a trampoline at Sumner Beach right now. It hasn't always been there, but
Oh,
it's
really?
just on the grass outside the beach, and it was there a few weeks in
Oh,
a
that's
row.
fun.
Yeah, and I'm like, who owns that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the liability.
Oh, yeah.
That's so American.
The
My
American
kids are
mindset
like,
too of, oh,
that's
yeah,
so, I mean, no one can, it's ACC. Like,
Yeah.
even my kids know that because I'd always, growing up, I wasn't allowed to have a trampoline because of the liability. And so I'm like, and they just have one here in the public?
Yeah.
And and even like the Margaret Mahy playground and the little
Yeah.
scooter thing.
Yeah.
My kids, when we first came, we'd go there a lot and they've outgrown it. But there's so much free stuff to do with
Playgrounds
small
here are
kids.
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like the playgrounds here, like I've never seen anything like it.
Have you been to the Sumner Beach kid area at the end and it's like a wet pad?
Yep,
like,
in Scarborough, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trained on how to say that word. It's
Scarborough.
not
See, I
not
don't-
Scarborough. I was saying that word to a coworker.
When people say Scarborough Beach, I'm like, what? I didn't realize Sumner Beach was also called that. I just call it Sumner.
Yeah, I think it's just like the far end of Sumner. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like those ROUGH endings, like
Oh,
you know, Marlboro.
Oh, yeah.
I was saying Marlboro to someone, And he like 3 times he's like, what? Like, what are you saying? And finally he's like, oh, just turn all your R's into H's. And I was like, Mabra.
Sounds like you're asking for like a Marlboro Red or something. Okay, one more thing before we go, because we've been talking a while, but on the last podcast, we didn't talk about food at all. I guess we touched on grocery store here, but my brother-in-law, who is the Kiwi living in America, but he's totally Americanized, but he said, I want to hear about the New Zealand food. And I guess just to hear he knows my point of views on it. I'm not a big fried fish and chip. I'm not a big fried food person.
Yeah.
Meat pies, Like I like the really gourmet chicken cranberry ones, I guess, but I don't like that like
just
gravy,
mince and cheese.
No. So what food do you love here?
I wouldn't tell anyone that one of the reasons you should move to New Zealand is for the food. I mean, I think it's fine, but like, fish and chips is good. It's not like, you got to move to New Zealand for the fish and chips, Meat pies, again, they're fine, but I wouldn't tell anyone to move here for them.
Yeah. And then when we won't go back to America, he has 2 twin boys that are teenagers now. But my teenage daughter gets annoyed because we basically bring back 20 pounds of candy or lollies for them. And they're all the kind that we do not eat. We are not into any of them.
Totally.
And
that's the other thing too, is Kiwis love lollies. I've never liked gummy candies. Like gummy, fruity stuff has not been my choice of treats. And that's like what they absolutely love here.
The cake that has
lolly
lollies
cake is
in
disgusting. Lolly cake is like some dry, shitty pastry with some chalky candy inside.
And like sausage rolls, they're always a staple at every luncheon at like workplaces, and like cheese rolls. I'm like, it's white bread with cheese.
Cheese roll is a grilled cheese sandwich that's rolled up. That's what it is.
So it's funny. So he wants me to start asking every guest about their food preferences here.
Kiwis also love to put sweet chili sauce on everything. Yeah. Like the first time I got like a falafel here that had why is sweet chili sauce on? This is weird. It's fine. It tastes. It's like I said. I guess my opinion is the same. It's like it's all fine. But it's not like it shouldn't be a reason to or to not. It's
and also a lot of the best food is exported to China and America, like the best cuts of beef and lamb.
Really, yeah.
So even the salmon in the grocery store here is so rubbery to me. Yeah. But if you go to a nice restaurant, I'm like, where'd you get this? Where'd you get this? And they're like, well, the restaurants get basically the premium stuff, and then the grocery stores don't. And I don't know. My kids love calamari. They always have.
Oh, really?
But not in New Zealand. Like we have ordered it dozens of times and it's always a letdown. But we went to King of Snake for my daughter's birthday last week. Yeah. And just her and I went, and we're like, should we risk it? Should we try it? And we got it. And it was so good.
Really? Yes. Finally found a good one.
They had some other seafood that was really good. And I said, this is really good. And they said, yeah, we order premium stuff. So it but you pay for it.
Are you big sushi eaters?
Yes, but not in this country.
No,
it's disgusting.
That's kind of the biggest letdown for me. It sucks. Sushi sucks so bad here.
And mayonnaise, like everything has mayonnaise. Yeah, and I hate mayonnaise.
Like raw fish sushi doesn't seem to be what
rubbery
they like.
Salmon. That's
it's like cooked salmon, cooked tuna, cooked chicken. Like it's all like I really miss like spicy tuna, raw tuna.
Yellowtail.
Yeah, and I actually I did a lot of research into this. Was like, why does tuna not exist here? And like I think it does, but I think it's like
too expensive.
It's too expensive, and I think it's a bit cold in the South Island. Like I think North Island might have like more tuna.
Okay.
But yeah, I missed that.
I asked a Japanese sushi guy.
Okay.
I ordered a bunch of sushi from him for a birthday party, and he made those little pandas out of rice for me. Like I don't know, it was like a 10th birthday party. But then I said, why are there so limited options?
Yeah.
Like you're an island.
Yeah.
And you're supposedly known for the seafood.
Yeah.
And he said the cost is so up and down and it's not constant that it's hard to create a menu based on the variable of prices was number one. And he said he's Japanese, but he trained at the top school in San Francisco.
Okay.
And he said, you should see what I can make. I'm like, I would love to. And I will buy it. And he said, yeah, it's just the affordability of getting the variety and then having it be consistent and affordable. It came down to pricing. So he said, yeah, sourcing was an issue. And now Kiwis are just used to the crap that they give them.
Yeah.
So no one's demanding high-end sushi.
Oh, it's so disappointing.
I know when we went home, that was something we ate a lot of.
Yeah.
Boston has a lot of good sushi restaurants, and even I'm sure which I never would have been.
Yeah, I feel like most
sushi.
Places in America now, it's
even the grocery store had better sushi than our sushi shops.
When I go back home to Hawaii, like the sushi that I get all the time is just from this grocery store called Foodland. Like it's just like it's over the counter sushi stuff, and it's like so good.
Just the creativity. So yeah, I guess that he said he did not want me to think it was the lack of skill or creativity. He was really wanting me to tell everyone I knew that, and that it was just more sourcing and pricing and
that's okay.
Like that, but
forget the podcast, forget the accommodation. That's the business. I'll go in with you. We got to bring real sushi to here. Yeah.
And then I was like, do you think they'll like it? But I think they will.
Yeah.
My kids get sushi delivered at school if they pay for it. But, there's no school lunch at their, so you can get sushi. And when I tell people that, they're so impressed. And then I'm like, she gets teriyaki chicken on rice.
Same. Exactly. That's exactly
rice.
At my daughter's school too. You're right. Like she either gets the rice ball with teriyaki chicken inside or the rice wand with teriyaki. It's like, that's what it is. It's not, like, it's not sushi. It's just, it's rice and chicken. That's what it is.
Yes, I know. But they do love all the Asian stores around here. Yeah. That is something they love, like the boba tea and I don't know, whatever. Just so much Asian variety. And they find that to be, I don't know, really entertaining. And half of it gets wasted because they think they like it. And then they have it and they're like, oh, maybe not. But yeah. And then there's a lot of Indian food here, which we didn't have necessarily where we lived. Yeah. But they quite like that variety. Actually, the first time I ever had Indian food was here on campus.
No way.
20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because growing up in New Hampshire, we didn't have
I'm sure now, though, that there is.
Now there would be. Yeah. And then I think I wasn't looking for it, but when I went back to Boston, I realized it was actually everywhere.
Yeah. I think like kind of part of like what we're alluding to is something I struggle with all the time of like overgeneralizing things. You know, it's like being a foreigner to this country, it's so easy to just say like, oh, this is a New Zealand thing, when really it might just be a South Island thing. It might just be a Christchurch thing. It might just be a rural versus city thing, regardless of what country you live in. You know what I mean? Like it's so, but yeah, like it's just kind of too easy to kind of overgeneralize and say like, oh, I'm a foreigner in this country, therefore this is the New Zealand thing, when I don't think it is.
And I think Christchurch is very different than other cities in the country. Yeah. And so I've started to say, well, at least in Christchurch. Yeah. At least in Christchurch. Right. Because even the first time I came here 20 years ago, I only was in the South Island. And then I would talk about like, oh, we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have, maybe it was like Dunkin' Donuts for all I know, but it might've been like chains and stores. And then people like, no, Auckland has Dunkin' Donuts. Auckland has Starbucks. Auckland has Louis Vuitton.
Would you ever live on the North Island?
I think, my sister-in-law lived in Queenstown for 25 years, and she just moved to Nelson because Queenstown got too expensive, too populated, just they were over it. And now they're living in Nelson, and it's just the land of abundance is how she explains it. And also my husband's best friend lives there, and it's very, like, a lot more hippie health food stores and foods. And we just did a beach I've done the whole Golden Bay. Cool. Tenting. Yeah. And then we went and did a house swap with someone who wanted to be in Christchurch for a sporting event. So we went up to their Golden Bay batch.
Good swap.
The people were just more chill. Really? They were just and my sister-in-law's explaining it the same way. People want to help their community members. They're like, oh, you need this, take this. You want this? Oh, and it's just a completely different vibe than she had in Queenstown or Christchurch. Yeah. And I get that feeling when I'm there too. So I think I would be a lot more suited for the Nelson area. Yeah, yeah. And yes, we'd be closer to my sister-in-law and her kids, which are my kids' cousins. But then I thought we moved here to be close to my husband's father. Yeah. And so.
Right. I mean, there's
I think it comes down to that for me. If we're I just get really stuck up. You obviously are here without family. I don't know if it's because I live so close to my parents and my parents were super, super, super involved with my kids growing up. And I guess I was really close with my grandparents. Yeah. So if there's an opportunity to be near grandparents while they're still, I get stuck up on the family thing.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Like I told you, I'm very nostalgic. Yeah. And so I guess I wouldn't say never, though.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'd try anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm adventurous enough that I would give it a try.
Yeah.
I just get I think I just keep falling into, well, we should be close to family if we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right. It's never, I think for very few people, it would just be like a simple decision in a vacuum of like, where's the best place to live in New Zealand, right? Like you go where family is, you go where the jobs are, you know, like, sure, maybe in an ideal world, I can convince my current job to just let me be permanent remote and I can keep this job and go live in the far north, you know, like maybe that will happen one day. But, you know, for now, like, sure, I wish I was warmer, but Christchurch is great. My kids are happy. Like, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it comes to. People constantly ask my kids if they're happy here, and they are, but they were happy where they were before, too.
Of course, yeah.
And they just say, it's basically Wales. Everything has its good and bad.
Yeah.
And they said at their age, they're just happy where their parents are happy.
Yeah.
Because, right, like that's what's important to them, having happy parents. And so they're just content.
Yeah.
And so that's good. They were able to make new friends and do all of that. I know some teenagers that come here. Also, we came before they were teenagers. But people who are coming with teenagers can really struggle finding those new friends because it does get harder the older you get. This is what I've heard from people, which is interesting.
Do people comment on your kids' accent
When
in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
Oh, no.
That's good. I don't think anyone does that to my daughter. Like, she doesn't ever come home and say like, "Oh, someone was making fun of me for my accent."
Oh, yeah, no. There's so many accents around here.
Yeah.
Except I went to a produce store yesterday, and the owner of the produce store said, "Oh, that's a strong accent. Where are you from?" And I said, "America." Generally, people just don't ask. They just ask Canadian or American or something.
Yeah.
But I said American. Then he said, "Make America great again."
Oh,
and
no.
I looked at him like, "Oh." I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh."
no.
And then he was like, "Oh, that's just amazing." And then I was, "Oh." Just so you know, I wouldn't say that to other Americans that come in here unless you want to get boycotted.
Nor would I.
So I realized, I was like, wow, okay. And then he just kept going, and I said, yeah, just be careful with saying that to your customers.
That just seems like such a lack of awareness that like knowing what country you're in, what the general politics or progressiveness of your country is relative to America. Like, I don't understand how a Kiwi wouldn't assume that most Americans. Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
And that actually, I talked about this with my colleagues too, is that actually that happened, that a lot of international people, not the Kiwis, but other people living here. So they are Kiwis because they're residents here, but they're not actually from New Zealand originally. I get that a lot from them. So that's what I was actually telling my group chat, the American group chat the other day, was going off about stuff. And I said, actually, a lot of international people in even the education that I go to school with, they're not horrified like you guys are. Yeah. And so I said, in my day-to-day, I'm actually met with a lot more diversity in New Zealand within that thought, which surprises me.
Well, I mean, I think similar to that, I remember former coworkers here in New Zealand that were international.
Yeah.
They, in the most recent election here in New Zealand, where it was the Labour Party in charge, led by Jacinda Ardern, which for progressive Americans at least was like a hero, you know? And then the National Party, which is a more conservative one. And it was primarily my international coworkers that seemed more outwardly outspoken for national because they were more like strict on like academic rigor and, you know, like things that they valued in, I guess, in their culture that they didn't see reflected here currently. So that was interesting. And not to say that the National Party here is like what Republicans are in the States. It's night and day different. But just I guess the move towards more conservative, I guess.
I was working at a law firm during that election, and they were outwardly putting on LinkedIn, go national, go national.
Your employer was?
Yes, here in Christchurch. And I was like, holy cannoli, that was culture shock. Yeah, I couldn't believe they were just posting on LinkedIn who they were voting for. And then I would say something like, oh, well, that's just known. Law firms go for national, or this sector goes for that. Like, it's very clear business sectors that go for national.
Interesting.
And so I wonder if being in business school, that's why business people I might hear that more often. Yeah. So I just couldn't believe that they were broadcasting that.
Yeah. I think like,
but it's just not as heated.
yeah,
That's the whole thing.
No, that's totally true. Right.
Yeah.
And I think the least favorite part of my experience from the 2.5 years has just been American politics has become such a talking point. It's such a point of interest, a point of conflict, a point of just like, I don't know, it is so influential around the world that when they meet an American,
they want to
talk about it. And I'm like, honestly, dude, like I
live here.
I left the country because I got sick of it and I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to deal with it, you know? And like, I am like fully at peace that disconnecting from global politics makes me a worse global citizen, but like, I'm fine with that. Like, I just want to be left out of it. I just wanted to like live in my bubble and worry about my family and not concern myself about like things that I think are awful and terrible. Yeah. And just like, please,
and protect your own peace.
I'd rather talk about something else, please.
Yeah.
But they always want to talk about it with you because you're American.
I know.
And I get it. But it's like, please leave me alone.
Like other people here know way more about what's going on than I do.
Oh, totally.
Because I choose
I feel
not
like a dummy
to.
all the time. Yeah. It's like, oh, really? What's going on in my home country? Tell me again. Like, I mean, don't tell me again, but like, I did not know that. Thank you. Who's this person? Who's this random governor that you're talking about? I've never heard that name in my life. Like
one of my colleagues the other day said, Ashley, sometimes you're so uncomfortable to talk to because you don't know what's going on in the world.
I don't know
and
anything.
I said, well, do I have, I said, well, sometimes I don't want to.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really funny because I just choose to focus on other stuff. And even when I open up the browser on my computer and all the news comes up, I'm like, close out, go to the next thing. I'm just like, it immediately is like, I don't want to deal with this today.
Yeah.
And I think even some Americans were like, have you been following? I'm like, no, like no, not really.
And I mean, I think there are like, there's a bunch of Americans that I know here that are still very much like plugged into what's going on. And there's some that seems like more like us. They're just like, I don't want to know, and yeah, like it's obviously people have like different approaches to how they deal with not being there physically, whether they want to know or not know. But for me, I just
want my kids to be happy and healthy. And actually they come home with some questions because they hear about it at school. And that's actually quite comical, because especially with an 11-year-old with kids from all different parts of the world. Yeah. So that's actually a little bit entertaining to hear how things get phrased and put. But for the most part, I'm glad that's not their everyday life and they're not just living and breathing American politics. Yeah. And we can just, hop. I love being able to just hop in the car and be at the ocean in 20 minutes or be out hiking or doing something in nature. And that's what I always tell them. In life, when things seem difficult or stressful, you just always have to turn to nature. And luckily, we're surrounded by it here. So it makes it quite easy to do. And I'm hoping those are the tools I'm giving them for life, even if they're going through a phase right now where they're like, we hate hiking. Why do you make us do this? You're so mean. I'm like, because one day you're going to really appreciate that you have this outlet, and it can be a free outlet too. You don't have to have money to do it. You just have to have your walking feet and, maybe a pack or something, but it's something you
just
can
an acknowledgement that like this is what life is, like life is being outdoor with nature and just like not screens and video games. Like sure, that can be a part of it, but like what like life actually is this stuff. It's outside, like
not watching other people live their lives.
I had sorry, I know we're almost done, but a coworker from the States right before I left, she is Kiwi. And I was talking to her like when we were thinking about making the move, and she was like very, point blank saying she has 4 kids. And she was saying like completely, me and my husband acknowledge that we are giving our children a worse childhood by choosing to raise them in America. Like they would have better childhoods if we were back in New Zealand, but like their priority was just like, we love our jobs are here, like that's kind of what it is, So like I think what children are able to do here is night and day better than.
Yeah. My daughter takes a city bus. Like, and she has been for a couple of years, just has a bus card and, because they don't have the school buses in the city. So a lot of them take the city bus to get to and from school, but she's just getting on a city bus and going to the mall with her friend. And let me tell you, the first few times that happened, I was in a state of panic the whole time. And she didn't have a phone yet, but the friend did. And I'm like, when you get there. And I was like, no, you can't do it. I actually said, you can't do it anymore because the whole time I'm too stressed out. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And then I realized then she got into high school. But high school, she was 12 when she started high school.
Wow,
I was 14 and a half. So it was hard. And then they're all doing it. And it's okay now. Now she does have a phone. So, you can track and know. But that's just the Kiwi life.
Yeah.
That's just what they do. That's how these kids get around and do stuff. So never in America would I be letting her get on a city bus at this age. Yeah. Probably not even until she was.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's a lot of things like that where you acknowledge that, like, this is like probably better, but it's just like really hard because of what's been like ingrained in me for decades, and and then it's, of course, too, like the device thing, because I'm like, you're on your, you have to be paying attention. Look at your surroundings. Right. There's
still bad people everywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to pay attention to all of that. Yeah. But I feel like she does note that. She said she has a lot more independence here than she would have had at home.
That's cool.
And so that's really good. And they just feel like more of a sense of freedom of being, ride their scooter to their friend's house.
Yeah.
We lived rural, so that just the houses were so far away.
Yeah.
I would say my road was very safe. Just there were no friends really close by.
Right.
And so here, the kids will just ride their scooters or walk over to a friend's house, which is nice. And you'll get to see your kids do that as they grow up. Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you. Do you have any last questions for me or comments or anything like that?
No, thank you for allowing me to be here. It's fun.
Okay. Thank you. We'll see you next time.